Kip, what have you been up to since our last interview?
Well, buying and renovating a Dutch barge was one of them, but also completing my instructor course for the Gyros and setting up here at Western. So yeah, it's been busy.
So how did you get into flying the Gyrocopter?
My girlfriend bought me an experience trip, just an hour with a local company, and kind of enjoyed it and started thinking about it, and heard that there was potentially a commercial operation viable. So I sort of got into it slowly from there, really.
So can you tell us about what it's like to fly?
Once it's airborne, it's just like a fixed wing, only slightly slower. But you've got the added bonus of being able to descend vertically, very slow flight. But when you're coming in, landing and taking off, there are some fairly critical differences, obviously, because you've got a big spinning thing above you. But ultimately, it behaves like a fixed wing in most respects.
So how much training did you need to have before you went solo?
Before I went solo, probably about 5 hours. I only did 25 hours because obviously I've got some previous experience. But normally you'll need somewhere between 40 and 60 hours to be able to pass your PPLG.
Mm-hmm. So what sort of flying do you actually conduct?
Well, I train guys here up to their PPL. But I'm also looking at flight trials with the new C of A aircraft, which is available for commercial work, and we're doing a lot of work into possible conservation, laser mapping, some environmental stuff as well. But here, mostly, it's just teaching people how to fly.
Mm-hmm. So how many students do you have at the moment?
Currently at the club, we've got about 8 students, so it works out pretty well because I've obviously got my supervisor flying as well, so it keeps us busy when the weather's good.
And what's your company name?
We're Revolution Gyros.
And where can we find you online?
We can find me online at revolutiongyros.co.uk, or just come to Western and pull up a sandbag and we'll have a brew. It's an entirely different flying experience. For one, you're fully open. A lot of people describe it as a motorcycle in the sky. It's very light, handles completely differently in many ways, but it's a lot less stressful. And being in auto rotation means that if the engine at the back dies, you just float to the ground and you can land in something the size of a tennis court. So from my perspective, it's safer in many ways.
Yeah. So how often do you fly?
If I come up, I'll normally do 3 or 4 days up here, and it'll be 2 or 3 times a day.
Brilliant. And many of our viewers know you have a barge. How's that going?
Slowly. She's back at Sharpness, undergoing a little bit more work, but she's actually being used by the BBC as a film set at the moment for a drama which is due out, I think, in Christmas. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what it is. I'm bound by an NDA.
And just before I go on, I'm going to put some pictures in, but I want to talk about your helmet because it's a Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so, okay. So also you fly with a special helmet. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I had it's an old Mark 10, and a friend of mine did airbrushing and painting and whatever, and I said, can you do a Luke Skywalker helmet? And he went, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. So, with a bribe of a bottle of whiskey and so on, he painted it up as Luke Skywalker for me, which is different, so it's nice.
So do you enjoy flying the Gyrocopter?
I do, yeah, I do. It's not a fast jet, but it is quite demanding sometimes, in very gusty winds or whatever. It certainly can be a bit fruity. So, yeah, and it's fun. It's open, it's different. So, yeah, what's not to like? So this is the main cockpit for where the student sits. You've got all the usual stuff. We're not allowed to fly in cloud or IMC, so we don't have any artificial horizon or anything. But you've got all the usual stuff. Engine instruments are here. You've got your speed, altimeter speed, your VSI. You've got a radio, also transponder equipped. Just your electric controls down there as well. You've got your throttle box, which is pretty standard. Go forward is faster and noisier, backwards is quieter and slower. And that's pretty much it. The most important piece of kit you have, though, is this little piece of string here, which, when you're flying in balance, which means that you're not side slipping either way, it should be straight up the screen. if you're out to one side or the other side, it shows you're out of balance, and it gets uncomfortable to fly and is not very efficient either. So this is where the student sits. He's got all of the instrumentation in front of him, and this is where I sit in the back, and I have a lot less. So I've got an altimeter. I do have a VSI, although it's partly covered from where I sit, and I have an airspeed indicator as well just under there, and pretty much that's kind of it. I do have a trim and a radio transmit button, and I can cut the engine if I need to, but otherwise the student's got control of the majority of the controls, which, you know, can be a bad thing sometimes, but there we go. Do the power check as well. Just need to warm the engine a little bit before we Are you lot still here? I'm paying your bloody wages. Do some work. Nice boys they are, they're only just starting out. Oh, 22 years old, those two, Jesus. Yeah, scary. Aren't we all? Still, it's better than the alternative. Right, brakes on. We're just set 2,000. Now we've just got to sit and warm the engine up a little bit.
There you go. It'll be a good day for you. It's been great, and I can't thank you enough for that trip. That was incredible.